What do you make of the words, Jonas? They're hard to make out. But I don't think this was a tomb. I think it was a temple. Whatever they had down here, they didn't bury it. No, they worshipped it. Previously on the cracked and crooked Manse.
So any idiot could knock on the door, but you are sub-idiot and therefore could not?
Well, there was a horrible murder at that house. It spooked people, you know.
Listen, out-of-towner. I'm the law here, and I can tell you the Dodge brothers asked me to look at that house. The feller ain't there.
I've discovered nothing. But if I had, I wouldn't be keeping it from you.
Salt has been used in occult practice to repel demons, ghosts, and it can be used to sanctify places and can be used as wards.
It's not that the money really means that much to me, but we were warned not to damage the place.
You ever indulge in any industrial sort of sabotage or anything like that?
Well, no, of course not. Unless you need me to.
The garden it's wild. There's a riot of life out here. The doctor becomes distracted by the sound of silence. All you can hear is the wind and nothing else. The house is... It's a manse, and it's definitely of that era, the sort of Civil War era. There's something almost that Rosalie recognises as a gesture towards home, that kind of subtle sense of a sort of southern big house, but obviously not quite. The architecture's slightly different in Massachusetts, but it's clearly built in that sort of era.
But of course they have the plantations. Just up in Maine, don't they? And that's not the same term of plantation as I would understand it, but it's one of those curious inheritances that we have from, places like Amherst have they have a storied history. That's what I'm told.
Indeed.
But can I just double check? When we drove up, how far away is our car? Or your car, Palmer?
That's up to you. How far do you want to drive? Basically, there is at the top of the driveway, there's a fountain and a sort of circular, like at the Savoy, a little roundabout for turning cars around the fountain. That is basically right next to the foot of the steps up to the door.
Did we make it that far?
Yeah, I think, because you got out the car to climb the tree.
Yeah.
I mean, my instinct would be as a driver to have looped and have it facing back out, especially since we picked the lock,
Mm-hmm.
Because I've ruined my clothes, and I'm very upset about that. And as soon as we're into this place, I'd like to change, gentlemen.
I was going to ask, do you need to go back and change now?
No, but I mean, as in, there's a bag in the car. We haven't dropped them off, have we? Have we?
Yeah, we didn't go to the boarding house, did we?
No, you didn't.
We just thought we'd check this place out.
I mean, you were. The Dodge brothers said they were very happy for you to stay at the house. And they'd only offered to pay for one night at the boarding house.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
This could all be over very quickly. But unfortunately, we don't know that.
Also, looking at the house, it has that sort of nod to southern architecture, but also there's something slightly odd about it. It looks kind of lopsided somehow. Maybe subsidence or something of that nature. Almost crooked. It's one of those things that maybe it's the angle that you're looking at it, but the lines aren't perfectly perpendicular.
Unless it's been built on really bad ground, it's a bit too young to have crumpled in the same way that European houses do. Would you say?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless there's a structural problem, perhaps. The windows are all shuttered as well.
I was just checking to see whether there was anything any points I'd put into history. And apparently she is the most ignorant person you could imagine about the history of buildings. Rosalie is aware of Bergman's expertise in this point, and as she sees the the odd angles, although she has no knowledge of such things, or indeed whether that should be right or wrong, whether that's kind of decay that is natural, I think she glances over at Dr. Bergman and says, I don't know about you, Johannes Bergman, but I feel that building is slightly strange.
Yes, you point out a very interesting characteristic of the building. It does appear to be on some sort of a slant, crooked sort of angle, but I'm terribly sorry to tell you, my dear, that I have absolutely no interest in architecture or archaeology. My interest is purely the human and the psychological. So I can tell you how this building makes me feel, perhaps how it makes you feel even, but why it is created like this or what has happened to the soil underneath it, I think really is beyond my, how you say, ken.
Is it fair to say that while that was being said, I wandered up to the front door and knocked on it very loudly?
I think at least you might be halfway up the stairs.
So you're going to go and knock on the door?
Yeah, I figure, there's no point in surprising anyone that might be lingering inside. You never know, there might be a just drifter or something like that. You don't.
What's Palmer's appearance?
His appearance isn't.
He's like Two-Face, isn't he?
His appearance is, it's like very good from one side, but burned.
Oh yes, of course he's burned, isn't he? He's burned.
Yeah. I seem to always play characters with terrible appearance and constitution.
Enigmatic, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think rather than many of my characters would have dashed up there to try to stop you knocking on the door, this character will simply interrupt you with a verbal scene.
Excellent.
As your hand comes back, she turns to the doctor and lays her hand on his arm and says, I do like a man who takes charge. Look at him, in his prime. And then...
Well, it's interesting you should say that, because a lot of women claim to be very independent and wish to express themselves and their own, impose their own feelings on a situation. But actually, if you look at the inner workings of a woman's mind, and you get it right down to the Freudian psychoanalysis, that actually what a lot of women look for is this commanding physical presence that we see before us in Sebastian Palmer.
Speaking of which, can Sebastian Palmer give me a luck roll, please?
I failed my luck roll.
So as you walk over to the door, your foot catches on something at the foot of the steps, and actually you go over. You manage to catch yourself on the steps. And when you look back, there's a tree root that is sticking up out of the ground. You swear it wasn't there before.
What?
As in, it wasn't there when I was walking up the step, like it.
As you were walking towards the steps, you don't remember seeing a tree root. You feel a bit foolish for tripping on it. You feel like you'd have seen it.
Must have been too focused on the doorway and the windows. Never mind. I knock again, and I just arrange my face so the nice side is slightly more visible, just in case anyone... I'm not expecting anyone to answer, of course.
We got house calls for you are a nightmare, aren't they?
Yeah.
So the door at the top of this short flight of steps, it's carved oak. There's a fine brass knocker, and as you lift it, it's very cold to the touch. And when you knock, it echoes round the room beyond. The ivy that has cobwebbed the front of the house is hanging down as well over the porch slightly. It's really out of control. There is no answer, however.
Doesn't sound like anybody's in. I'll see if it's unlocked. We have keys, don't we? Did we get given keys?
Yeah, Dodge Brothers gave you a key for the front and back door.
Yeah. So I'm going to turn the handle just in case it's unlocked for any reason, but I'm assuming it's locked.
It is locked.
Mr. Palmer, I find it very interesting. I've only just observed, but when we listened, we realized we didn't hear any insects or birds in the vicinity. But the flora is really quite rich, verdant, rich. Am I correct? There appears to be a lot of plant growth, but absolutely no animal life. I find this very interesting. Normally the two go in tandem, I believe, although I'm not a man of nature myself.
Well, no, nor am I. The thing that draws my attention is the fact that there's no insects.
Exactly, and how peculiar there would be this much lush undergrowth that no insects would appear to be buzzing around.
It's like a rainforest, and there's nothing living here. Mind the roots here. I just almost knocked my block off one.
Oh, thank you for the warning.
Dr. Bergman, can you give me a luck roll as well?
Gladly. I have failed that luck roll.
As Sebastian Palmer is pointing out this route and you step forwards, a tree branch hits you in the head. And you look up and you realise that there's a tree. One of the branches of the tree next to you is sort of half broken, so it's sort of hanging down.
Oh my God!
You didn't notice that before.
I didn't notice that before.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Doctor, do be careful, Doctor.
Nature coming at us from all angles. It's like
right.
It's growing faster than. Well, I don't know. What do you guys say? We go in the front or the back? Doesn't sound like there's anybody home.
Do you... Oh, moi.
Oh, sorry. It's colloquialism. I get used to addressing working men so much. Madam,
No, charmed, Sebastian, charmed.
I'd warn you about the roots too, but you're so graceful. I think there's no need. Just us clumsy oafs keep hitting our heads on things. So, what do you think? Front or back?
I think Rosalie Damien looks around to see if anyone is observing, and for the first time, well, maybe since when back up on the tree, I think that was part of going up onto the tree as well. But is there any chance that we're being overlooked by anywhere, or is this? I imagine it as being unobserved by anywhere else.
Oh yeah, the trees are so dense that it feels like you're almost in a clearing in a wood. It's like you know. The only way you could be overlooked from where you are is from one of the windows of the house.
But they're all shuttered.
And they're all shuttered, yeah.
Although having heard all of that and said all that, I still think maybe she says, "Why don't we check the back?
Yeah,
Just for old time's sake."
a sweep of the perimeter.
Not a bad idea. Would you like me to stay at the front, watch the front door while you go around the back?
Don't think there's any need. Well, if you'd like to.
I'm gonna assay Sebastian Palmer, although he's been burnt. If I have that correctly, physically he's not been limping, has he?
No, he's quite like muscular still, but it's just like
Quite sure of his footing.
well, apart from the fact I just tripped over a root, but
Well, no, but I think she's conscious of the fact that the two of you both did that. And it's just, she's conscious of it, but it's working on her unconsciously, and it might be Bergman's speech that's sort of affected her there. But I think she says, "Well, yes, I think that's a good idea, Doctor. Why don't Mr. Palmer and I have a little look around? But I'd like to be accompanied."
well, sure.
Of course, I will wait here just in case anybody comes to the door. Perhaps an invalid takes a long time to answer the door, for example, or...
You never know. Keep an eye on the car as well.
Of course, and I will wait here, and will you come back round this way, or go in the back and opens the door and let me in?
We'll loop round, and we'll give you a holler if there's anything we need help with.
Oh, and Dr. Bergman, is your revolver reloaded?
Oh, very good point. Thank you for the reminder. I will do that now while I wait for you.
Mr. Palmer?
Lovely. Well, after you. Or, how overgrown does it look? Is it more of a, I'll beat the undergrowth out of the way?
No. There is a way round. There's a path round the back there.
I still think maybe in his head, in this era, the man's thing to do is to go first in this situation. We're walking into mystery.
She's certainly deferring to that, although there's a wry smile about it, almost as if she's playing a part.
Yeah. Cool. So, I start going around the left side of the house, if I get to pick one.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll stick very close to him, and I'll say to him in a low voice, "Now, obviously, I don't get to pick locks like this just because I've been training girls dancing.
No.
You keep your eyes and ears peeled, Mr. Palmer. They're much keener than mine, I'm sure. This place gives me the creeps.
Yeah, there's something off about it. I know what you mean. I would like to do a spot hidden at some point, but only really if there's anything. I mean, I know it's cheating to say, tell me when to do a spot hidden when there's something interesting, but I'm trying to, scan all the windows, see if there's any.
I just said you should keep your eyes and ears peeled. I mean, it's the perfect excuse to make a spot hidden, isn't it?
True.
I thought you were doing a good job there.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah, okay, then give me a spot hidden roll.
Yes, lovely. Oh, it's not actually great.
The keeper of the Gamwell Gazette pay review probably will give us nothing.
A hard fail on that. Not a fumble.
All right.
Just a really bad fail.
Can you give me a dex roll, please?
Oh, Christ. Oh, yeah, of course. There's always consequences, isn't there? Very good. 4 on my 65 dex. So
great.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah. So you feel your heels go, and you kind of sort of skate on them for a second. And you look down, you realise you've been staring so long at the windows that you missed the huge slippery mud patch. But luckily, you managed to hold on to your feet and you don't go falling into it.
Gosh. Excuse me. I must take these stilettos off. My heels almost kill me. Watch out for that puddle. I sort of offer my hand to guide Rosalie around.
Who's already caked in shit.
The mud that I've splashed up.
I do, of course. I have my suitcase with me, which may not be the most useful of items regarding balance.
Sounds like it will be for you.
So you get around the back of the house, and here there is this, another part of this ornamental garden, which has also gone wild to seed almost. The back of the house, the back door is less imposing than the front door. It's quite obviously the back door, though, and it seems to be the only door at the back. However, there are also 2 wooden hatches at the rear. They clearly give access to presumably one's a coal chute and one's for something else like wood or something.
I'll take note of them, but not interested in making entirely surreptitious entrances. Yeah, roll in those beer barrels.
If either of you want to give a track roll, you can do.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm looking at them...
Well, you are sort of looking at it and stuff.
Well, may as well, I suppose. We're paying attention, aren't we?
I see nothing.
Let's do it. Oh my God. 0-2. Under the standard 10%.
Tick that box.
Yes, I really should.
Just in case you play this game.
Who knows? We may come back.
You may survive.
He says, with barely disguised disdain for our chances.
Clearly not.
You notice that there are old tyre marks in the sort of the dried mud here. Presumably trucks would pull up to these hatches to make deliveries. And one of the hatches has a hole in it, and a few odd-looking vines are sort of protruding from it.
Oh, nasty. I say, Sebastian, you don't mind me calling you Sebastian?
No, sorry. Trello.
No, I drew you out of your study of the back door, I see. Cast your eye yonder. Those vines are they're not expected. That's an unusual, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, looks like they had some sort of underground garden as well.
Back at the studio, I keep some orchids. My assistant, of course, is looking after them while I'm away. Not that they needed a lot of caring after, which is awfully convenient. This place is very strange. You see this here? The vehicles must come up. I wonder if this is where the salt was to be delivered. You see that track there?
Yeah, I'm assuming I do see the track.
Once it's pointed out to you, it's obvious.
My spot hidden is obviously not great, and my but I'm pretty good at drive, auto, and like mechanics and heavy machinery and stuff, is there a sense I get of like how recent this track has been used, or is that what would that be?
Well, I'll tell you. It looks like they've been used frequently over a long period of time.
Okay.
How recent? That's harder to say.
Harder, yeah.
But it's ingrained.
Okay. Well, for all we know, it looks like maybe wood or coal, or maybe they've got an inbuilt ice house or something.
Or maybe salt.
Well, yeah. Although, looking back through I only had access to the last couple of years, I think, but I didn't see any other orders of salt. But he'd been away a while, so
it's so specific, isn't it?
Yeah.
Salt. What would you use that much salt for?
Could I do an occult roll? I've not got very good occult, but I feel like there's a certain use of salt in Irish folklore. Because Sebastian's actually.
Well, you did roll on this last time.
I thought we did, and I couldn't remember if it was just an idea or if we'd actually already done it.
Yeah, no. In fact, I think you made 2 rolls on it because the first one failed.
Oh, yeah. Okay, ignore that.
So I've written down. I actually can't remember which one of us it was, but I think we all discussed it. So I've written down
you did, yeah.
4 different possible uses for salt: warding off evil, used in rituals, used to detect witches, and used to repel demons and ghosts, is what I wrote.
Oh, the other one I should say is allegedly you can use it to exorcise demons and ghosts by salting the bones of the deceased, apparently.
Oh, really?
There's another one for you.
So the only one I had was that you can sow the ground with salt to stop things growing there. But obviously they've not done that in this case because there's fucking growth everywhere.
And the Dodge brothers are of the opinion that it was maybe for, like, if there was a bad winter.
Yeah.
To preserve food?
To salt, like, to...
I see, salt the roads and stuff. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We believe the Dodge brothers as far as we can throw them. But yes, it could also be that.
I mean, they are called the Dodge brothers.
Yeah, hints are given to it.
Okay.
Well, I'm concerned about leaving Dr. Bergman at the front. His imagination may run wild again, and he does.
Speaking of which,
he does have a revolver.
Let's see how wild his imagination is running. Can you give me a listen roll, Dr. Bergman?
Oh, for fuck's sake! I was busy. Whoa, that's bad. That's bad. It's not quite a fumble. It's fine.
Okay.
I mean, unless you're going to tell me something that I don't hear.
No, you hear nothing.
I'm sat sort of slump on the porch. Open my little hip flask, take a swig of something stiff to steady my nerves because actually, this is a bit weird. And then think, actually, no, that's not the right call. And open my little medicine bag and take some amphetamines to improve my focus.
Which is surely pushing the roll. Surely that's what you're doing.
That probably is. That probably does. In fact, that probably does push my listen roll. Thank you very much. Good point. It was
Fantastic.
It was a sort of like a preemptive push. I was going to be doing that anyway. I'm pushing my listen roll because while I was there, I was taking
nothing better than a push roll on amphetamines. That's a fail. Can I spend luck on a push roll? I can't remember. No.
Well, that's fine. Great.
So you think you do hear something?
Yeah.
You hear this kind of how to describe it? It's sort of like an old boiler, or a sort of a broken, faulty water system or something suddenly whir into life, sort of behind you. And as you turn around to look, there's nothing there except the wall of the house, which seems to shift slightly.
What?
The brickwork seems to be moving.
Stop.
Can you give me a sanity roll, please?
Failed that as well.
Okay. So that's one sanity for that.
Well, now I take another swig of my hip flask.
Understandably so.
Uppers, downers, uppers, downers. He's a doctor, he knows what he's doing.
I know exactly what I'm doing.
Well, wait a minute. What's in the hip flask?
Vodka.
We're assuming it's alcohol, but
Yeah.
a bottle of Peruvian.
Yeah, good point.
Peruvian family.
Oh yeah, we're even worse.
And what is
Sort of like liquid THC. It's just
Pure ayahuasca. Gets a drum out.
It's just coconut water,
coconut water. Yeah, exactly. Just
to keep your skin looking good.
yeah.
What do Rose
The Apocalypse players do not approve of drug use.
Well, three
or
of them might
coconut
not.
water?
Yeah, I was going to say maybe not as an institution.
As an institution.
So, what do Rosalie and Sebastian do then? You're walking back to the front of you.
Yeah, well, I was going to say just before I was going to say, do you think I should give the back door a little knock, just see if we can hear anything before we head back round?
Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not too sure why you're knocking.
Oh, for my sake, there might be some scared drifter who might jump out at us, some hobo type. I've known it happen before.
You did knock at the front door.
I did, yeah. Yeah, that's right. We're playing like a game of hide and seek otherwise. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. Let's head back round.
No, I'd say let's kick this one open.
Jesus. Well, I guess we could. Do you not think we should tell Bergman we're planning that before he hears the sound of splintering wood and comes racing through and trips over a vine?
I don't mean literally. I mean, let's see if it can be undone. And I kneel down next to it and have a little look. Is this padlocked as well?
The back door simply has a normal lock on it.
Yeah, so I'm more interested in this because padlocks, nah, not my thing.
You do have keys as well, I guess.
Oh yeah, at that point, as I'm kneeling down with a slight fervour, I then think,
I think I'd be too loath. I'd be too polite to sort of overtly say it, but I might just jangle them in a sort of casual way as if I'm looking through my pockets.
oh dear, I seem to have expressed too great an enthusiasm.
Well, no, it's a great art you have. It'd be a shame to not let you use it. Hey, if it doesn't damage the lock.
Exactly, and you should have seen me in Paris in 1905.
Oh yeah.
And I seem to remember someone saying if it doesn't damage the lock to me then, but it was a very different context.
Good luck.
All right then, young man, why don't you do the honours?
Yeah, I sort of say, if you think that's the best thing, shall I holler for Bergman? Or are you, we did say we'd come straight round. Poor guy seems easily flustered. That's my only thinking.
I think I've got excited about what's inside. No, you've talked me down. Very sensible, Mr. Palmer.
Well,
I see why that you're good for the man.
thank you, miss. Let's head round. I think lead the way back round the other side of the house to where we last saw Bergman.
You find him staring fixedly at the wall.
Yeah.
With my Luger drawn and reloaded.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Oh, Bergman.
What a gift.
If I see that as I round the corner, I might flatten myself slightly. Like I'll stay within his eye line, but like just with the corner of the wall and just say, "Hey, Bergman, you all right there? You see something?"
Yeah. Yes. No, absolutely fine. Just a trick of the light. I think this wall. Gives the impression of movement. I think maybe there is some minor subsidence. No, quite fine.
I thought you'd seen a bird or something. You were trying to do a bit of hunting. You mind putting that thing away before we?
Yes, of course. It is away. Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to roll a psychology check on Dr. Bergman.
By all means.
I feel like that was a little.
My psychology's pretty good as well. Is it fair to do one similarly? Having just talked him into putting his gun away?
Yeah, sure.
Sorry to piggyback on your idea.
Thank God you did, because I'm getting nothing.
Can I do a Can I do like reverse psychology? Can I use my psychology to...
Yep.
Okay, so like to oppose...
What's a reverse psychology roll? Is you going, oh, please do a psychology roll on me? Yeah, that'd be great. Oh, really clever. Yeah. I rolled a 14 on my 45 psychology. It's a hard success.
I am...
Solid hard.
I've failed my psychology, which is my best skill, but I am going to push this because so I'm just going to...
Dan, are you really?
Yeah, I am because I can't fail it again. I'm going to flip open my cigarettes and pop a... what are my cigarettes? They're Eckstein. I'm going to pop an Eckstein in my mouth and light it coolly to sort of steady my nerves again. It's just been a little bit up and down over the past 2.5 minutes.
These are the ones you soaked in liquid LSD and then let dry, right?
Yeah. And calmly say, no, please do not worry. Sometimes I think my parapsychological background means I sometimes detect certain waves and past experiences of people who've been on the premises, and it sometimes can be disturbing, but I'm very, very good at controlling these influences.
Yeah. Ghosts.
Was just a regular success. So I'm still not as good as Danann's hard success, but...
I just think he's got his gun out because he's been reloading it. That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, true. You can ask him to.
Fair enough.
It would make
sense. Sebastian, you've seen on, when things get rocky on the picket line, you've seen people losing their nerve.
Yeah.
This is a man who's losing his nerve.
Yeah. I've seen people in industrial accidents, and it's like that sort of slightly wild-eyed, but he's saying he's fine. Okay. Oh, so you're saying, are you talking about ghosts, basically? I don't really... Well... you're the expert.
I mean, ghosts... I'm not a ghost hunter. I don't believe in... I don't believe in any sort of afterlife. What really concerns me is the powers that humans have that are beyond our comprehension, or beyond the comprehension of many of us. ESP, extrasensory perception, these sort of things, potential telekinesis, communication through means other than verbal or physical. But ghosts, no such thing. Okay. But sometimes waves and sort of energies are left in spaces after events have happened, but not ghosts.
I sort of give him a very gentle sort of box on the arm and sort of say, how many times you solve one of these energies or these sort of projections with a Luger?
His little box on the arm sends me flying, and I think I probably lose a hit point.
That really was not my intention.
Unbelievably feeble. I do stumble and rub my arm and go, ooh, forgive me.
No, forgive me. That was too hard. I just mean, hey, take it easy on the old firearms when you see in the flickering lights, eh?
Of course, it is a way. It's a put away.
Gentlemen, maybe there's a compromise between the two positions of the physical and the, I don't know quite would we call it the metaphysical, Doctor?
Yes, that's not a bad description at all. Yes.
Out the back, they've been getting heavy orders involving trucks. They've been dropping things off. They've got a couple of cellar entries by the sound of things, or the looks of things. One of which is most intriguing. Seems to have some odd vines growing out of it. I'd be careful about these here tropical plants that we have in our midst.
Do you think that it is perhaps, if you'll excuse me, a little joke in your native tongue, that it is a different type of salt cellar to that which we are familiar with?
I sort of
cellar of salt, I think.
I see. I've got it. Yeah, it took a while.
No,
Translation, very good. Oh yeah, that's very nice.
Anyway,
we should get in. We should get into this mansion.
You're saying as we sort of move around, maybe I want to say, when you say be careful of these here tropical plants, where you reckon some of them are poisonous, what they'll give you an irritation or something?
I think there could be any number of complicated side effects for such things. Yes.
Right. Okay, thank you. Give me a shout if you see anything dangerous.
I will.
Well, shall we unlock the door?
Yeah, I take the keys out and I say, front or back? Dealer's choice.
I don't think there's any interest in going around back. We're right here. Let's go through.
I agree.
Excellent. So I walk up to the door, up the steps to the door, and unlock it, if possible.
So be it. The front door, you say?
Yes. The one with abandon all hope, ye who enter here, written over it, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Curse is about to fall upon you.
Yeah.
So you unlock the door, and on creaking hinges, it opens inwards into a short corridor about the width of the door that opens out into a hallway, quite a large sort of square hallway. You can see the stairs from the front door. The whole house is very gloomy because of the shuttered windows. Yeah, there's no skylight either, so I mean, the hallway's really dark. As you open the door and you step in, you hear something above you, this kind of, and then as you look, a piece of plaster from the ceiling just sort of peels off and slaps on the floor in front of you. It looks kind of damp.
Yeah.
And indeed, there's a smell. There's a smell of damp throughout the house.
Yeah, watch out. The whole thing's crumbling. There's bits falling off left, right, and centre.
What was that? What was that noise?
There's some plaster from the ceiling. Just
No. Wasn't there a sound before it?
I don't know.
Oh, it was just the sound of the plaster coming away.
Oh, I see.
I believe it was the sound of the plaster coming away from the ceiling.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
You can see actually at the base of the walls there are a few chunks of plaster that have already fallen off the walls and the ceiling, and the wallpaper is sort of peeling off on one wall by the door.
Let's all keep our ears open.
Yes, let us. It reminds me, when was someone last supposedly living in this house? Because it does not appear to be recently lived in.
Well, wasn't it, he went away a year ago, or?
23, I think. Can't left in 23, is that right? This is too much decay for that.
Well, quite. I'm not, an architect, but it seems to me that this is a sort of decay that would take decades at least, not a mere 2 years.
I have a flashlight in my bag.
Mm-hmm.
I may get it out if it's that dark. My eyes aren't what they were. And so I think I may pop the case then and there, and get out my sleek 2 foot long 1925 flashlight. It's 25 or 24?
25.
25, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask if we had any light sources. I couldn't remember if we'd bought torches specifically, but I don't think we did, except you, perhaps.
Well, she's a woman of a certain age who needs the toilet sometimes in the evenings. I say night, at the night.
Yes.
And you need a torch for that.
How does it work? Is it like a dynamo? You have to sort
Well,
of...
it's... Oh, you mean how does that... Yeah, the flashlight. No, I thought you meant how does going to the toilet work?
Just to get her knees up.
A woman's urogynecology symptoms a thing of deep and private conversation with her specialist. So at 58 or 59 or whatever she is, so she too much dancing. She pulls out the torch, and I mean it does have. I suspect this probably requires some kind of luck check to turn it on.
Not for now, but maybe at
It might run out of batteries.
critical moments it might.
Yeah, exactly.
It might be important.
She sort of gives it a shake, knocks it around a bit, and then dink, turns it on.
Takes the batteries out, rubs them together like this.
Yeah, blows on them, slides them back in. I love it.
Always works. You get a small cold spotlight that you can point around. You can see that there are cracks along some of the walls. There is a significant damp problem.
Are there any lamps?
Yeah. There's some sort of gas lamps.
Perhaps ironically, I'm going to use the torch to get over to something with a bit more. Well, if it's gas, do you think it'll even run? Well, I'll give it a try. I'll examine the gas lamp because she just won't be able to see that much because she's too old.
Yeah. They seem to have fluid in them.
So while she'll set that up while the other two therefore have capacity to do whatever they can do.
Yeah, I'd like to grab one of those myself, actually. Seems wise.
Oh, I assume was it to do with the wall or was it to do with the... Is it gas lit in the wall or is it gas lamps?
Sorry. I was thinking it was a hanging gas lamp.
As in has it hanging? Can you take them around or is it...
Yeah, why not?
Why not? Okay. Maybe there's one on the board.
Yeah.
One a bit
by the
down,
door.
Maybe.
That's where you need them.
Cool.
But yes, there's a staircase that runs up to the upper floor. And in the centre of this hallway, you can see the upper floor. There's a sort of balustrade, a very square balustrade. And around you, there is, as you approach the stairs, to the right, there is a corridor. You can see 3 doors and it turns a corner. And to your left, there are 2 doors and another smaller, narrower corridor going to your left, and a similar sized corridor heading straight ahead to the back door.
Right.
With also another door off of it.
In this moment, I suddenly realise who I am and what my backstory is, and I pick up the gas lantern and then immediately refrain from lighting it, hand it back to someone else and say, I don't suppose you'd trade for your torch, would you?
Oh, of course. Allow me. And I take it and I step away at a decent distance so that he doesn't get nervous about. And I light the gas lantern.
And Johannes Bergman at this interaction mutters under his breath, "Fascinating, absolutely extraordinary expression of personal phobia caused by past experience." He fumbles to get his notebook out and starts making notes.
I hear that. I try to ignore it. In denial about how scared I am.
Yes, all it's quite a complex layout, but
I've played AD&D. That's okay. You verbally describe it.
Yeah, but I don't have a grid.
I don't need a grid.
Okay, it's you've got a square hallway with corridors running north, west, south, and east. The northern hallway, you've come from the south. The northern hallway has the back door and a door on the right-hand side as you're looking up of it. The western hallway has 2 doors, one facing north, one facing south. In the hallway itself, on the southern wall of the hallway, there is a door. On the western wall of the hallway, there is a door. And the eastern hallway, you can see 2 doors in the south wall, 1 door in the north wall, and it turns a corner. It turns left to the north. Well, the relative north, I guess we'll call it.
2 doors to the south in that one? Or two doors to the north?
2 doors to the south, 1 door to the north.
And in my head, for some reason, this was all up on the, once you get to the top of the staircase, we can see that over the balustrade, or is it the top of the staircase a mystery and this is all on the ground floor?
This is all on the ground floor.
Okay, cool. My mind runs away from me. I might turn to the others and say, we're going to have to go through every room, right? See if there's any trace. So I guess we do it, take one side at a time and just go methodically.
Most obvious course of action.
Ground floor, then top floor.
I don't see why not.
I mean, we don't really know what we're looking for apart from any clues as to...
I mean, obviously it's dark. Stuff's falling off the walls. I don't think she feels comfortable about going alone. So, yeah, I think she'll stick with those two.
Yeah. Oh, well, my instinct from the start is we should stick together. I think, we don't know. There could be some drifter hiding in some room. Met this guy once called Red. What's his fuck? And sorry, pardon the French. Not the French, the whatever. But, yeah, anyway, let's...
Good to hear a man speaking his mind. So the doors leading off this central area, do they look big?
One of them looks like a cupboard, and one of them looks like a proper door.
I mean, I guess therefore we could look at those two first, because the others are corridors that we've. What I wonder if one of
the room.
Oh, you sound like you've cleared some rooms. Yes, let's. Why don't I look at this cupboard while the two of you open that door?
So the door that Sebastian and the good doctor it's the southern door. So it's the room that is essentially the left as you came in, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So you've walked a short corridor into the square hallway. Yeah. Anyway, so they open that door into what is clearly a library. It's full of books, because it's a library, but there are many gaps on the shelves.
Well, to be expected, right? We knew he donated a lot of his library.
Yes, good point.
Maybe because the damp was eaten into them.
Maybe. What do you want to do in this library?
Can we sort of see the layout of the room from where we're stood, or is it like quite big with like sort of aisles?
Oh no, you can see the layout. The shelves are all mostly around the walls. There's 4 windows as well, 2 in the south wall, 2 in the west wall, but they are shuttered. Greasy kind of light filters through in the dust. It's all in this sort of green filter from the trees outside.
Can I do a time check? What time it is?
I think it's sort of like mid to late afternoon, because I think you had lunch in Gamwell.
So what sort of time is it going to get dark around here?
Well, it's the start of the year, so it's probably going to get dark around 7.
So we got a few hours before nightfall.
Yeah.
Here's a thought I sort of say to... hey, I reckon we should open the shutters of every room we go into. Light the place up a bit. Help ourselves keep track of where we've been.
That seems a very fine idea.
Anything in your door, Rosalie?
So as Sebastian and Dr. Bergman step into the library, Rosalie opens the door of this cupboard. Only you discover there is a huge, dark figure stood right on the other side of the door with an axe over your head.
Fuck off.
Oh no, it's just a curious shadow cast by an overcoat.
Fuck that.
How big is this cupboard?
It's a cloakroom, really.
I see. So it's a walk-in cupboard. Well, I think she staggers back and raises her cane.
Yeah.
In a sort of gesture of defiance, as she sees this, with the grace of a leopard, but also obviously kind of it's a massive overreaction in that sense. And she catches herself maybe she slides slightly backwards as well, because it's all a little bit too much as she realizes that it isn't real. And she puts her hand to her chest and she begins to laugh. I'm just jumping at shadows, gentlemen. And they've just gone into the library, have they? Mm-hmm.
Can I check, is the library the one on the south wall or the one on the west wall?
South.
Library south, okay.
And it's kind of a big L-shaped room.
but we can sort of see all of it, or would we need to walk? Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little alcove round one corner that you'd have to walk to have a look in, but
I imagine there's nothing scary in there.
well, actually, if you go and look, there's a doorway there back into the corridor.
Oh, okay. Good to know. Whatever else is happening, I walk over to the shutters and open them.
You are overwhelmed by the smell of musty damp as you open these shutters. The wood has warped in places, and some of the shutters are actually kind of like slightly at an odd angle to the window. They're not wet, but they're certainly damp.
I mean, how big are they going to be? How big are these windows? Are the shutters going to be like a dangerous thing to me if they come off their hinges while I'm opening them?
Potentially. I mean, not that dangerous, but it would hurt. Right. I mean, they're tall windows.
Yeah. Well, I think I'll be careful, but basically I still want to open them. And maybe just hold my breath so I don't inhale too much of the fucking musty bullshit.
Yeah.
Spores.
So you open them up and yeah, you get a nice view of the ivy that's writhing its way down the house. One of the shutters, as you open it, it's quite mouldy behind it. You can see that it's the damp has sort of run amok. And
then I guess I turn from there, and unless I'm not sure what Johannes, is it Johannes or Johannes?
Johannes.
I thought so, yeah. If Johannes hasn't seen it already, I guess I'll see that there's the door out into the corridor. And I don't have much stock with libraries. I don't really know how to work them, so I'm going to head back to where I saw Rosalie.
I tell you what, though, while you're opening those shutters, you can give me a spot hidden roll.
Oh, great. I mean, yeah, actually, I should have... Is the angle such that I might be able to see our car from there?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, failed.
You don't notice anything.
Nah.
What's Dr. Bergman doing in the library?
I would like to do. I would like to have a. Is it a big? It sounds like it's quite a big library.
Yeah. It's it's like nearly a fifth of the floor plan, really. Well, a sixth.
And everything is damp and musty and mouldy.
Very much so.
My first thought is there any section of the shelves that look like they're not damp and dusty and musty and mouldy? Is there anything that looks like, books that have been more carefully preserved or perhaps taken out or put back more recently? Anything like that?
I tell you what, you can give me an intelligence roll or a library use roll.
I will give you a library use roll. That's a regular success.
So, working your way through the books, you see that they are that mould and moisture is there on the shelves. It doesn't really provide any sort of guide as to which books have been read recently, but there are gaps on the shelves. And looking through, you make an educated guess that the books that are missing they presumably are the books that are at the library. There seems to be nothing whatsoever about the South American continent in this collection of books.
Right.
I think my reeling back is perhaps over with now.
Mm-hmm.
And do I see anything in this cupboard?
No, it just seems to be overcoats and Wellington boots, maybe.
Go through the pockets. Not all of them, just like a couple.
Yeah, you don't uncover much except a few old sweet wrappers that have been stuffed back into pockets.
Smells musty.
Give me a luck roll.
Yeah. Yes, that's a pass.
Yeah, you don't find anything particularly. It's damp in here as well.
May I ask another question about the library? So, when we were in the Gamwell Town Library, I went through some books that presumably, I think I was looking at a book that had come from here. Is that right? Or have I misremembered?
No, you did. He had his name in it.
And that was Dusty and Musty. And I inhaled, psychoactive spores from the pages. Mm-hmm. Comparing the books in this library to the book that I took off the shelf there, does it seem that the book I took off the shelf in Gamwell Town Library has the same mouldy mustiness as these books, or have these become more mouldy?
These are damp.
Okay, right. So this is something that has happened subsequent to the donation of the books.
Yes.
Okay, so I think I might just save me explaining all that. I might just report that finding to the other two in case that's of interest to them.
Fair dues.
Yet more evidence that this decay does appear to have happened in a frighteningly quick amount of time.
I mean, I can hear words, but I doubt I can actually hear any of this in detail because I'm elsewhere, right? But I think it draws me back across, and I will stand at the entrance to the library.
I've come out in search of you, so we probably meet each other in the doorway.
I see the doctor is engaged.
No, I'm quite finished. I don't think there's too much of interest in here, to be honest. The interesting books, the South American section, have already been donated. I suggest we move on to another door.
But actually, the doctor can give me a spot hidden roll as well.
Failed.
It's one of the bigger rooms, isn't it? Sorry, that's what I was going to say. And the shutters are open?
Yeah, I just opened the shutters, yeah. I was just going to say, no more rooms off the main room anyway, so, there's a door here, looks like it leads out into the left corridor. Should we continue that way?
That sounds like a capital idea.
Yes. Why not? And is that right? The other door in the library is the one that goes out into the corridor on the left?
Yes.
So this library curves round the closet. It embraces the closet.
Exactly so, yeah.
Okay. Spoons the closet. That is a big room then, isn't it? Okay. Yes, okay.
How big is the closet? Is it the sort of closet where one could get changed?
Yes, probably is actually.
Gentlemen, I hope you don't mind, but I'd really like to get out of these stinking clothes. My recklessness earlier has cost me a degree of comfort and indeed forced upon me a stench that I cannot abide.
No, of course. Why don't we...
I shall be quick as a girl from Paris in her 20s. And then she nips in with her suitcase, throws it open, and I think sadly is now going to have to put a skirt on. She didn't have trousers. Damn it.
While we wait for Miss Damian, Mr. Palmer, would you permit me a little experiment, a little parapsychological experiment?
Yeah, I guess so.
Just realised who your character is, Dan. It's Daniel Bruhl from The Alienist.
Guilty as charged. Are you wearing a tie, Sebastian Palmer?
Well, that's an interesting question. I don't think so. I think I'll be wearing like a waistcoat and shirt, like sleeves rolled up. I mean,
it matters not. I have a cravat. I take my cravat and I say, "Permit me," and I go to blindfold you.
Wait a second. He's not wearing a tie. Can I do a retcon of social credit rating? He's not wearing a tie.
Do you know what? I probably.
Do you know what? You said you're not. You said you're not.
No. Thinking of the era, though, I mean, he's someone who does political speeches and stuff. He's not always going to be like rolled sleeves. I mean, is that too much of a retcon? Maybe.
No, I was teasing.
But would it be the right thing? Would it be odd if he wasn't?
I don't think it'll matter in a bit.
No.
Okay.
Oh dear.
I'm not then.
If it's all right, with you, I blindfold you with my.
Whoa! Wait, where are you going there, Johannes?
I would like to try and persuade you to let me blindfold you. I'm going to do a persuade roll.
While he's persuade rolling, can I do a dexterity check for as quick as possible because I'm a bit nervous about the doctor.
You're also in a very small cupboard.
You said it was big enough to get changed in.
Yeah, but it's still small. It's big enough to get changed in, but it's still small, and the the coats and hats that are hung up around the walls. You've already had one fright in here, and they press very close. You don't know how far back the wall is, actually.
What?
But as the door clicks shut and you start changing quickly, the only light
I'm not closing the door.
You're not closing the door?
No, I'm a dancer.
Well, someone closed it.
Oh, no.
What have I got on? What have I got off? Very important.
What you were wearing?
Bottoms off, tops
I
off.
think I've got the skirt on and the jacket off. So I've got my blouse, but it's fucking February, isn't it?
Very B movie this.
She's a looker. She may be 59, but you'd cast her in this part. You know what I'm saying?
So yeah, as you're bending down to collect your blouse or cardigan or whatever out of
Appearance 70, boys
your suitcase
and girls.
You hear the door to the cloakroom softly click shut.
Shit the bed. Cut back to outside. There's nothing I can do. Yeah.
So I've got a hard success on my persuade roll.
And just to clarify, where are you stood right now? You're still in the library.
In the library, in the middle of the library. Mm-hmm. And I'm still holding it, going slowly to blindfold Sebastian and say, "Please do not be alarmed. This is totally normal practice in parapsychological research. It's just while we wait for our companion, I thought I might harness your what is very obviously a strong emotional and psychological connection to yourself, and it's instinctive. It's instinctual and almost, if you listen,
okay,
animal.
Doc. Enough of the talk. Just do it quick."
So I put the blindfold around his face, and I just slowly turn him around a couple of times and say, "This is really. Tell me if you get dizzy. I do not want to make you dizzy. I just want to
remember this from my 7th birthday party.
It's very similar, very similar.
In the tail on the donkey.
Exactly, and now
On the zonky.
I would like you to. You know of the zonky?
I just realized.
I would like you to think of all you know of Arthur Cornswaite.
Yeah.
And cast your mind back to this man, this explorer, this philanthropist, Gamwell millionaire, and picture him in your mind. Think about his bank statements, which you studied carefully, and as you think of these things, I'd like you to move forward. Slowly, I will not let you trip on any furniture, and I don't let him bump into it. And I would like you to move forward through the library and place your hand on the first book that comes into you, that you feel drawn to.
Right.
While concentrating very hard on Arthur Cornswaite, and think about the things that you might have in common with him, what you share as men of the American dream, different ends of the spectrum perhaps, but...
Yeah, no, I got it.
Yes, and just reach out and touch the book that you feel drawn to.
I see. In my mind's eye, I see a flash of his face. I see a flash of the workers I helped him find. I see a flash of milk pouring into a bowl. And I reach out my hand and slowly walk forward.
Give me a power roll.
Which one of us?
Sebastian, but with a bonus die.
Okay.
Also, Dom, you and I need to play fucking hypnotist psychologists, because this is grandstanding beyond compare. I swear to you, I'm coming back at you, Wheeler, with this.
Okay, one of them was a success. Almost a hard, but just a normal power success.
You put your hand out, and Dr. Bergman, you think this hasn't worked because he hasn't touched a book at all. He's touched a sort of knot of wood in the dido rail of the wall.
Hey, this ain't no book.
What have you found there?
It moves under your touch.
What the fuck?
You feel like it could rotate.
I'm taking the blindfold off.
You see now that you could slide it out if you wanted to.
I apologize for my... thank you for indulging me, but
no.
this has not...
There's something here. Yeah, I want to jiggle with it. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it just might be like a little hidden drawer or something. Might have some dodgy accounts stashed or something else.
I need a dex roll for you to manage to sort of gain purchase on it properly.
My dex is pretty good. Let's... Fuck off. I'm going to push it. Is there a way I can push it? Dig my
Would you like
nails
some
in?
help with that?
Really, Here, Duck, give me a hand here. Just, steady me and, is it that I need more force? No, it's not strength.
You just need a bit more purchase.
Yeah, I dig my nails in and go to pull it out. I mean, that's a dodgy move, right? Quite easily going to lose my fingernails here, but
Break a nail. Oh, God.
snap a nail off.
1d6 hit points.
The nail flies back into your eye and blinds you. Yeah, I'm going to dig my nails
Give
in,
him ideas.
push my other hand on the wall and just use all my strength on it. My strength is also pretty good. It's the same as my dex.
Okay.
I'm going to push it that way. Let's have a look. This has got to be a success, otherwise there's no god. Oh, shit. Fuck off. 67 on a 65.
So what happens is you brace yourself against the wall, and the hand that the hand you're gripping with is you manage to just about get purchase, and all you need is just enough force to just pull it out now.
Yeah.
But your hand on the wall, as you brace, it goes through the plaster. The plaster is rotten and damp, and your hand goes straight into the wall. The cylinder that was this secret compartment slides out. It's a hollow wooden tube that comes out of the wall. You manage to get it free, but your other hand makes contact with something very moist, very viscous in the wall cavity. Something unnatural. This was an Apocalypse Players production. For more information about the podcast, go to apocalypseplayers.com. Thanks for listening.